Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this video came to me from X. It was just a video that was pretty much just going viral. It's about somebody who is from the Gen Z generation and their thoughts on the 9 to 5 work schedule. And I just wanted to play the video and also just kind of talk about it. So I'll be playing it and pausing it just when I have something to say. And let's go.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9 to 5 job after college. And
Okay, so she has just entered the workforce. I'm trying to think back to when I actually entered the workforce, probably around 17, 18, around that age, getting my first job. It was just a part-time job, but after college, finally going into a full-time job and realizing, wow, this is just a lot of time spent traveling and actually working a 9 to 5. So
I'm in person and I'm commuting in the city and it takes me fucking forever to get there.
There's going to be some language in this. And I don't know much about this person. So she said that she works in the city and it takes a while to commute, which I totally understand. I am all for working from home environments when it comes to like office jobs and jobs that you could actually work from home. It just makes a lot of sense. Just saving time, like half an hour to an hour actually traveling to the location, fighting rush hour traffic. I'm all for work from home. Let's say that.
There's no way I'm going to be able to afford living in the city right now. So that's off the table. Like, fucking duh. If I was able to walk to work and it'd be fine.
I don't understand why people want to work in cities, especially with the rise of remote work. It just doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just live outside the city or like very far from the city and just work a remote job for one of the businesses or companies that operate in the city? That just makes the most sense to me, because then you save money on commuting, save money on rent for living actually in the city. So that's just something that this person should kind of reconsider if all possible.
But I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30 and I don't get home till like 6:15 earliest.
7:30. So if she starts at 9, so it takes her like an hour and a half to actually, that's just the travel time to get to work. And I watched this video already. She says she gets home like sometime after 6, so that's another over an hour just to get home. So she's traveling like anywhere between like 2 hours to 3 hours round trip. This is all travel.
And then like I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like,
yeah, I mean, and I get this totally. After a long day of work, you're just totally drained, not wanting to do much other than eat. But then you have to consider the fact that if you cook dinner, you're going to have to clean up all the dishes after dinner. And I actually don't have a dishwasher or anything like that. So it's an extra probably half an hour to 45 minutes to clean up, in addition to the actual time it takes to actually make the dinner. So it's just a lot that you had to juggle. And then you have to consider the fact that if I just order out, then you're just spending more, and it's just more cost effective to actually cook at home, and then you're just wasting the time to actually cook it. So it's hard to balance that out. In addition to, it could be healthier if you actually cook your food at home. And she also references working out. That's just something that I just haven't had time for recently either. So I totally get it. And I'm actually a millennial, in my 30s, and I've been working 9 to 5 for over a decade at this point. Just wanted to put that out there.
oh, upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy.
So she already says like, it's not an actual problem with her job, nor does she actually have a problem working in general. She's just saying like the schedule of, having to commute and then actually stay there for 8 hours and then, commuting back home. It's just, I get how it could be a lot, especially for somebody who just graduated college and like maybe have only had part-time jobs up until this point, and you're being trained essentially through school to just you go to the location, you do your work, and then you go home. That's what you're being trained as soon as you enter like elementary school. And school though is a lot less stressful than work. Like you just have hanging out with your friends and you could pay attention barely and still pass all your classes.
Being in the office 9 to 5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like people that drive to the office, like you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like
I said, I am all for working from home. Remote work makes so much sense. I don't understand why companies don't utilize the technology that we have. I mean, you have so much technology available to you to track productivity. If you see like 80% of your department able to work remotely in an efficient manner, then why not allow that 80% to do so and punish the 20% that is not able to work as efficiently from home? That just makes more sense to me. Like, why punish the majority just because there's that minority that slacks off and isn't able to handle the responsibility?
I literally get off, it's pitch black, like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating?
So yeah, she's now talking about, you know, making friends and dating. I actually met my wife at work when I worked a part-time job, which eventually transitioned into a full-time job. So that's how it is. Like even if you were just doing schooling, you potentially meet your spouse doing what you spend most of your day with, which is whether it's schooling or working. So that's how it worked out for me. And I'm surprised why this person can't just like meet somebody at work. I mean, especially if they're in person. So yeah, that's questionable. Maybe she's not trying hard enough to interact with people that she works with, or different age ranges, personalities might not meshing there. But that's an easy way to solve that. In addition to maybe going to social events or like just going to the gym, and also a bunch of dating apps out there nowadays. Not that I've used any, because I was able to find my wife before that stage in my life.
Dating, like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out, and I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like,
so that's another, if you have been around women during that time of the month, you'll understand that they're just naturally more emotional, which I'll excuse the crying here, and just look to what she's actually saying. What she's actually saying, I for the most part agree with. The emotion, you know, being a guy, I would probably not react this way, as I'm expressing my concerns about these topics, but she's a woman around that time period, so I mean, I guess it makes sense. And everyone from Gen Z, or a lot of people from Gen Z, is posting their rants on social media, which is how I came across this video here. So
am I so dramatic? It's fine.
So like I said, I think she is dramatic in terms of the emotions that she was expressing here, but I also think she was just kind of trying to farm for engagement when she's like, you know, crying in this emotional state and talking about this. But that's just me. I'm not a woman with a social media profile. I'm a guy with a YouTube channel, so I'm able to express my emotions and my thoughts differently than she would. So just taking a look, age range of Gen Z, this is anyone born from 1997 to 2012. Their current age is 11 to 26. So yeah, a lot of them are just entering, the oldest ones are just entering, you know, the workforce as of like, if you graduate college like 22, let's say you do that. So as of 4 years ago, they are entering the workforce and are just kind of getting a taste from it, which it shouldn't be that surprising, because if you think about it, like I said, schooling, that's pretty much putting you on the schedule for work. So they should be used to the work or that schedule aspect of it. But I'm sure just commuting to a different location, like if you were to go to school, your school is probably within like half an hour of you. And if you use the school bus, and that's just transportation, just getting you there. And you might have friends that you sit with on the school bus, or if you drive yourself, you could decide who you're traveling with. Whereas if you're using public transportation when you're working in the city, then you know you're not going to be interacting with anyone, a bunch of strangers on the bus or the train. So that could be why she's finding the aspect of traveling to work more boring and more tedious. And again, just her current emotional state. But we'll just move that out of the equation and just saying an hour to an hour and a half travel time one way to get to work is ridiculous, especially since she said that she works an office job, which should have remote capabilities at this point, you would think. So just looking at another article, remote work statistics and trends in 2023. I just kind of glanced at this, and it's saying that by 2025, 32.6 million Americans will work remotely, which is awesome. Really good to hear. This is just a statistics from Upwork, which is a freelancing website, which equates to about 22% of the workforce. This projection suggests a continuous yet gradual shift towards remote work arrangements, which is great to hear. And even here, 98% of workers want remote work at least some of the time. Totally makes sense. It just adds more hours to your day, because let's just take a look at this here. I just made this quick slide. 24 hours a day, right? Let's just say you get 8 hours of sleep. You're in a great situation where you're able to get at least 8 hours, right? Okay, so next, your 8 hours is going to be dedicated to work. And this is actually the working aspect. This isn't taking into consideration your commute, your lunch, or any overtime that you might do. So 16 hours of your day is already gone. You can just chalk that up to being gone, which leaves you 8 hours in the day. This is talking like if you're working Monday through Friday, assuming you don't work weekends, like overtime like that. But let's just assume this is what we're talking about. So you have 8 hours left. You have 8 hours left to eat, drive, whether to work or social gatherings, to actually fall asleep, because like I said, this is counting the 8 hours where you're actually sleeping, not the time that you're just kind of in bed trying to fall asleep, or hitting the snooze button or whatever you might do for your sleeping routine. Then we talk about self-care, like brushing your teeth, showering, working out, anything like that. So you have such a small segment of your day to dedicate to this type of stuff. And your chores, like you have to wash your clothes, and you have to take care of the yard, and last thing is social events. So there's just so little time in the day, and this is just taking into consideration like just only 8 hours of work. That's assuming you don't work overtime and anything like that, and that's just assuming you only work 8 hours. So people in a salary position, I'm talking about previous experience, it's usually more than 8 hours. So you have less than 8 hours every day to take care of the remaining things that you need to take care of. I could understand how somebody just going into this type of environment would feel this way, especially when their emotion is at its peak. So let me know what you guys think. I am a huge advocate for remote work. The statistics of people doing that to increase, especially if there's more technology to track how people are performing. And it just makes so much sense. It just makes your employees happier and giving them more time to spend with their family and doing things they actually want to do outside of work, because people have to work. They have to work to survive. You work starting probably around like 18 or in your 20s and go until your retirement age, if you're lucky enough to retire at retirement age, which is 65. So you're at least working full time for 40 years. Why not try maximizing the amount of time that you can spend to do what you want to do while you're still young? And in this 8 hours, you have to also account for people doing like side hustles and stuff like that, because at this point, bills and everything are so high that it's kind of hard to just live off of just the income of your full-time job at this point. Unless you wanted to kind of work on lowering your monthly expenses, which is also another strategy that somebody could take, and working less, like just living in a trailer, lowering your monthly expenses, and just living a very simple life. And if you're able to work remotely from a trailer and then making a decent income, that sounds like the ideal situation. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this topic. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.